Good evening, namaskar, adab. Welcome once again to another special edition of your favorite social media show. Every day before I log in onto this program and before I start talking to all of you, I make it a point that we get hold of some viewer feedback. We get hold of what is it exactly that people are thinking on their minds. What's the main concern, the main viewpoint, the main point which is troubling them. And each day at 8 o'clock, I try and begin in a way so that it becomes accessible to you and you all realize that what we are trying to do on this program is to basically empower you more, which is why I don't call any politicians, as you know, we don't call any spokespersons. It's not a Congress versus BJP akhada. That kind of an akhada is, it's meant for an era gone by. It's meant for what I used to do, not anymore. Now, frankly, the more I look at the kind of discourse which is taking place, the more I feel disgusted. I mean, here we're talking about the number of COVID cases having crossed 1 lakh. And what are we really being told? We're being told that some politician is not sending buses to some state, and therefore the entire state machinery needs to be absorbed only and only with that point. This is the reality, and this is the question which should really be bothering you folks. Are we literally on the verge of a disaster? Is that where we're headed? Or are we building herd immunity to COVID-19? No other way to describe the situation where we are in right now. Cases are only increasing by the day. And if cases are increasing by the day, are we also increasing our state of preparedness or not? Some very, very important questions that we've got today. Some data which will explain to you just how grim the situation could well be. Are we losing the battle to Corona? Are we building herd immunity? It's a straight question. Last night I had Ronnie Screwwala on the program, Chairman UTV, and he was saying that till December, don't expect anything to ease off. He was expecting almost 50% of people who have moved out from big cities to smaller towns, thinking not in terms of coming down. But I got two doctors today on the panel. Dr. Tripti Gilada has been on many of our programs before, and Dr. Rai is live with us too. Warm welcome to both of you. Triptiji, straight away, let me just first begin with you and let me ask you to respond to this straight question. What is the reality? Are we facing a disaster or are we facing herd immunity?
Simple answer, it's a disaster. We are far, far away from herd immunity. I think herd immunity is being talked about without understanding what it actually is and what the downstream effects are to develop herd immunity. Herd immunity is not something that you can actually plan to build up. It's something that might just happen as disease progresses. So herd immunity is where you make enough percentage of your population immune to an infectious disease to the extent that a new person who comes in who's susceptible will not get the infection. And understanding the dynamics of COVID-19, there is a concept of something called as R0. R0 is where when one person infected is introduced into a 100% susceptible population, how many people does that person infect? And various studies say the R0 is between 2 to 5 or 6. Now, given those numbers, we know that to develop herd immunity for any region or country, the number of people who should actually get the disease is anywhere between 60 to 80%. Now, if we were to assume even 1% mortality, mind you that the mortality at this point in time is anything between 5 to 10%. We really don't know what the true numbers are. But I'm saying a beautiful scenario where our mortality is 1%. You can imagine that 80% of our population gets COVID-19 and 1% succumbs to it. That's a huge number. That's a disaster in its own sense. So herd immunity is not something that we're looking at. What we really want to do at this point in time is tackle the disaster that we're facing.
I'm just amazed. You're basically saying that out of the two options that we have put up, you're making it absolutely clear, Triptiji, that this is not as if that we are in process of acquiring some immunity. So therefore, do I assume that you go by this view that this entire 45-day, 50-day lockdown period has actually been wasted?
Yes. Okay. So let me just come to that answer. So when we say herd immunity, we are making a lot of assumptions. Okay, a disease can get a herd immunity only if we are very sure that people who have got the disease, when they recover from the disease, they are immune to the disease and they have antibodies which are potent enough to protect themselves from getting another infection and also protect themselves from transmitting the disease to someone else. With COVID-19, we aren't even sure what that immunity means. We've seen from a lot of countries that, one possibility is that the immunity is short-lived. The second possibility is that the immunity isn't potent enough to prevent you from another bout of infection. So herd immunity works best for diseases where you can have a widespread vaccination with a very efficient vaccine. Something like with polio. And we know how many years we took to eradicate polio even after having an efficient vaccine. That is what herd immunity is. When you really have a very potent vaccine and you can actually vaccinate a huge number of your population, nearing 80 to 90%. Do we have a vaccine today? No. Do we know what the immunity status is after getting the disease? No. So it's definitely not herd immunity.
It's not herd immunity. Okay. I just want to play some numbers just to take off from what you're saying, and I'll bring in Dr. Rai with this one. Look at what's been going on as far as this journey to 1 lakh cases concerned. And Siddharth Zarabi, my friend, is also joining us. And Siddharth also has very, very important story to tell folks. Today, आप सब लोगों से मेरी विनती है कि आप सुनिए कि आज जराबी साहब आपको क्या बताएंगे, क्योंकि वो आपको समझ में आएगा कि देश में जब आप व्यक्तिगत या पार्टीगत राजनीति करते हैं, when you are only focused on party politics, what happens? But Rai Saab, look at the reality. Total number of positive cases over 1 lakh, growth rate we're told 3%, cases doubling every 23 days. So again, government trying to take this position that all is well. Rate of doubling has remained the same, I'm told, over the last 3 days. If you were to look at it purely from the point of view of COVID death rate, this is where we are. India and Japan literally in the same category. We are at the low level, but we're rising. The death rate may be low, but it's rising. We are nowhere near, say, Belgium, UK, US, Sweden, Canada, and therefore, well, good luck to us. But it's not as if that we're out of the woods right now. If I just stay with these numbers, Rai Saab, would you go then? Would you go then by what Tripti ji is saying? That actually ना ये disaster की तरफ हम लोग बढ़ रहे हैं. ये कोई herd immunity की कोई बात नहीं है. क्या आप मानेंगे इस बात को सर?
नहीं, जहां तक as far as the herd immunity is concerned, until unless 70 to 90% people are not suffered, we cannot achieve it. And by the way, if we go according to the herd immunity, it's next to impossible to wait. And then the mortality with what the madam was telling, even if 1% comes to death, at present the death rate which is there is 3 point something. By the way, if 70% people get suffer, how much casualty will be there? It's beyond our imagination, and we are afraid to even think about that one. Now the question comes, what disaster we are going to see? As far as the doubling is concerned, if we would have in now 13.5 days, we are doubling the cases. If it would have gone much higher, it was better. Now things have become very, very bad, as even after the lockdown, how the people's, I should say the word, how we are obeying, how we are disciplined, that is everywhere, it is known to you. What is happening in the country? People are migrating from one place to other place. They have not been tested, and once they are going from one city to other city, what sort of the quarantine is there? Nothing is there. As far as the testing is concerned, testing is also not up to the proper ratio. Today I can say you, out in 1 million, India is doing 1,680 patients testing is being done. Whereas in the Japan, Brazil and other countries, up to 8,000, 9,000 per million tests are done. So we are lagging the tests also. But to find out, as far as herd immunity is concerned, it's not applicable for country. But yes, how long we will keep on fighting with the corona? Until unless we have got something in our hand. At present, we don't have.
What do we do? So, Rai Saab, one moment, sir, one moment. If you're saying that for a country like India, अगर आपका ये argument है सर कि ना भारत जैसे देश में हम herd immunity की बात नहीं कर सकते, और मैं जो आंकड़े देख रहा हूँ, ये सारे ब्रूकिंग इंस्टीट्यूशन से जो आंकड़े आए हैं और ये ट्विटर से जो हमको मिला है ओपन स्ट्रीट मैप ने, जो कि बता रहे हैं कि आप क्लस्टर वाइज आप देखिए पूरे देश में इस वक्त जो माइग्रेंट वर्कर्स की जो आप समस्या की बात कर रहे हैं कि लोग एक शहर से दूसरे शहर जा रहे हैं, आप देखिए कमोबेश पूरे भारत में जो परिस्थिति है वो पूरे के पूरे भारत में एक जैसी है।
बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं।
अपने अपने हिसाब से, अपने अपनी क्षमता के अनुसार देखिए वो बड़े शहरों से छोटे शहरों या गांव की तरफ वो जा रहा है। आज मैंने बीबीसी पे कहानी देखी थी ऐसा, बहुत मुझे बहुत दुख हुआ वो कहानी देखकर, जहां पर एक 13 साल की बच्ची, बताइए एक 13 साल की बच्ची अपने पिता को गुड़गांव से बिहार साइकिल पे लेके जा रही थी। These are the kind of time that we're living in। और मैं बड़ा ही विचलित हुआ वो कहानी देखकर। लेकिन मैं ये खाली अभी समझना चाहता हूं कि क्या हम ये माने कि जो कुछ पिछले 45-50 दिन में हुआ है उसका मतलब फायदा कुछ नहीं हुआ है। मतलब जो डिजास्टर हमारे सामने है, खाली ये है कि डिजास्टर शायद पिछले 50 दिन में न हुआ हो, 1 लाख का आंकड़ा पिछले 50 दिन में नहीं हुआ, इसलिए आगे होगा। क्या इतना ही फर्क है क्या?
चौबे जी, जहां तक सवाल कह रहे हैं कि पिछले 50 दिन में नहीं हुआ, मैं थोड़ा सा आपसे डिफर करता हूं। अगर 30 जनवरी को हमारे पास पहला केस आया था और उसके बाद जो भी हमारी गवर्नमेंट ने इमीडिएटली उसके ऊपर रेस्ट्रिक्शन लगाई, आइसोलेशन किया, स्कैनिंग किया और बिना स्कैनिंग के नहीं आने दिया और एकदम लॉकडाउन भी कर दिया, तो आज हमारी कंडीशन कुछ अच्छी है। अगर देखिए 30 जनवरी को हमारे पास भी एक केस था और इटली के अंदर भी एक ही केस था। इटली की हालत क्या हो गई है पिछले दिनों में आप देख सकते हैं। हमारे यहाँ पे जो कुछ हमने अचीव किया, आइसोलेशन से, स्कैनिंग से, क्वारंटीन से हमने किया। और रहा सवाल दूसरा, आज की तारीख में जो आप कह रहे हैं, वाकई में बहुत दुख होता है। अभी टीवी के ऊपर जब हम देखते हैं कि हमारे मजदूर भाई सर के ऊपर तो उन्हें संदूक रखा हुआ है, बच्चे को पीछे पीठ के पीछे बांधा हुआ है और चले जा रहे हैं 300 किलोमीटर, 400 किलोमीटर। क्या हमारी सरकार के अंदर दया नाम की कोई चीज नहीं रही? अरे भाई, जहां से आप देखते हो कि 50 आदमियों का झुंड जा रहा है और ये मान के चलिए 50 आदमी एक ही स्टेट की तरफ या एक सिटी की तरफ वाले होंगे, ये नहीं होगा एक नॉर्थ में जा रहा होगा और एक साउथ में जा रहा होगा। तो भाई किसी भी व्हीकल को भेज के उनको वहां से ट्रांसपोर्ट करो, उनको क्वारंटीन करो, क्योंकि जो आज हमारी पॉपुलेशन चल रही है, अगर इनका हमने टू द पॉइंट उनका इन्वेस्टिगेशन, ट्रेसिंग, उनका टेस्ट नहीं किया, वो जाके गांव में जाके इन्फेक्ट करेंगी, तब हमारी क्या हालत होगी?
That's my fear। मेरा तो fear यही है। I want to bring in Siddharth Zarabi now on this one, because I think both Tripti ji and Rai Saab, what both of you are telling me is this, that let us not go for whatever propaganda that may have been spread so far. We are not prepared. I think the point that I'm hearing from both of you very clearly is that we are not prepared to face up to the level of this pandemic today, and that cannot be a good sign. We're talking about, I mean, I'm just aghast completely when I look at these numbers. Look at this, and I'll get Siddharth to weigh in on this one. What's the situation on the ground in Delhi NCR region? Siddharth has been traveling extensively between Delhi, Noida, and he's figuring out, people are reaching out to him. This is what he's finding out. Trauma COVID positive patients are going through hell. I mean, it's unbelievable. The kind of pain which patients are going through just because they have to be admitted. Unbelievable. Hospitals saying that they're full of COVID positive patients. Lack of facilities is beginning to hurt. Siddharth, what are you hearing?
Well, Bhupen, not just hearing, frankly, I want to tell all our viewers that in some ways, I know people who are undergoing great trauma personally. One, a former colleague, and another who at a relative level. And what is it that I have found out? And I'm just saying this as plain vanilla, as honestly as I can.
Yeah.
You just have to be fortunate, and whichever God you believe in should have blessed you to avoid COVID. Because if you catch it, the system in the country's capital region, national capital region, is completely astounding. Case number 1, a patient was tested positive. After 3 tests, of which the first 2 tests got mucked up. In one case, the sample was handled improperly. The other, the reading was not correct. The third test gave a positive reading, after which it took 5 full days. And I say this with absolute responsibility for the sake of privacy of the patient and their family, and I'm not revealing the names.
Sure.
5 days plus for getting admission in a normal hospital. Case number 2, elderly gentleman tested positive and taken in an ambulance to a facility told to his family by the Noida authorities, the helpline number that you are supposed to call. And that patient waits outside one hospital for 4 hours and is told that there is no room inside. Then that patient, using multiple contacts, reaches the Government Institute of Medical Sciences, which by all accounts is supposed to be like one of the key nodal places in Noida, which, by the way, Bhupen, and as the rest of the country knows, has been an early stage hotspot and perhaps continues to be so. They are told that the other private hospital has better facilities. That hospital has been taken over by the government, and the patient gets admission after 8 hours practically on the roadside. Within 24 hours, as of earlier today, the patient...
8 hours on the roadside. Siddharth, you're saying 8 hours?
Yes, on the
roadside. I mean, a patient who's positive is on the road. He's left on the road.
Yes, but I think I must restate that line. On the roadside in an ambulance, which his family had gotten arranged themselves. So just to be clear, in an ambulance with an oxygen ventilator, but on personal account, no problem. Now that patient is in a hospital for the last 24 hours, and today that shattered family gets another shock. And what is that shock? That hospital in Noida, in the heart of Noida, informs the family that please be warned, the patient is slipping. In the next 24 to 36 hours, he may have to be shifted into an ICU. The family says, okay, please do it. The hospital, a 900-bedded hospital, says, sorry, we do not have ICUs. Find an ICU. Now that family travels to various places or contacts various hospitals in Delhi and says, we want to bring a patient, give us an ICU. We are willing to spend as much as is required, whatever your charges be. From 4 or 5 prominent hospitals in Delhi, the answer to that family is, sorry, we do not have room. So Bhupen, there might be a class bias. Apologies for anyone who feels wrong. If this is happening to people, this is happening to people who can pay 100,000 rupees per day, who have no problem in paying for private care. Imagine the situation for those who cannot afford to catch this disease.
Just unbelievable. Just unbelievable, Siddharth. You know, I want to add.
One last,
Siddharth, I think
I am very worried. I am extremely worried about that map that you just showed, the hotspot map, because it, I think every dot on that map is perhaps a death zone. And I pray to
that's my fear.
I pray to every God, please protect every single Indian in this time of extraordinary crisis, because otherwise the situation is extremely difficult for those who are undergoing this trauma of COVID.
So anyone, and I'm so glad, Siddharth, that we're calling a spade, and that's why we've created this platform. Because truth is that this reality will not come out. What are we talking about? We're talking about rebooting India. We want to reboot India, but we can't survive. And we're talking about basic survival issues, and here we want to reboot India. It's absolutely disgusting. It's shameful. Anyone who's trying to put this message across that all is well, please listen in to Siddharth Zarabi's story today. You will know exactly what's happening. I want to further bolster the point which is being made by Siddharth, because frankly, this should not come as a surprise to us. Look at the reality of India's healthcare infrastructure. Now, this is a research paper which was prepared by Brookings Institution, and this was done towards the end of March. The number of hospital beds which are available, government hospital beds, and Siddharth is right that it could well be a scenario where there could be an element of class bias, well, simply because there are some people who can afford to pay. But what does the data from National Health Profile, Mission National Health Profile 2019, point out. Look at this. Total number, in a country of 1.21 billion people, what is the total number of government hospital beds which are available in India? Country of 1.21 billion people. 20 crore, roughly 20 crore is the population of migrant workers, according to various estimates, who are today in different parts of the country. 0.55 beds per 1,000 Indian citizens. This is the reality of India. No wonder that we had to go in for a lockdown, because we could not have managed to deal with the kind of scale that this pandemic would have posed before us. 0.55 beds. Availability of beds for elderly population. 5.18 beds per 1,000 population. How in the name of God? How in the name of God? Maybe I should join Siddharth Zarabi, Triptiji. Maybe I should join him and I should say that the only way that we can help ourselves is that we should pray to God. I mean, look at these numbers. These numbers, Triptiji. How do we then say that we have worked out some kind of a preparatory model in these last over 40 days? If this is the reality, I'm willing to accept that maybe instead of 7 lakh beds, maybe 3 lakh, 4 lakh beds more would have been added. But if this is the reality of government healthcare infrastructure, what could be our strategy to deal with this corona pandemic?
It's absolutely heartbreaking. We've seen this from Mr. Siddharth. We are seeing it in Bombay. We are seeing it in major cities. So we can't even imagine what's going to happen in a lot of tier 2, tier 3 cities. And I think in villages, people are not going to even get diagnosed before they get to this problem. It's a very deep-rooted problem, and this entire pandemic has highlighted two of our deep-rooted problems. One is the kind of priority our country gives to health. So this shows what we've done over the last 50 years. It's never a priority, and now when we really need to have a great infrastructure, obviously it's not possible to do it overnight. The second problem that has been highlighted is that we just don't want to accept that we are in a problem. In lockdown 1.0, we wanted, everyone was consoling each other, everyone, the politicians, that, India has had a lockdown very early compared to all the other countries. So we are going to win this battle. Community transmission was going on even during lockdown 1.0. We did not want to accept it. I think that was the point where we should have said that, we gave physical distancing the main focus of the lockdown, which actually wasn't the main focus. The main focus of the lockdown was, one, to get the health infrastructure ramped up, and two, the most important thing, and that's the only thing that will save us, is ramping up testing. You have to test, isolate clusters so that the transmission is halted at that cluster level. And we failed on those two things miserably. Our health infrastructure only started getting ramped up in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And testing, we are still lost with testing. So we only thought that physical distancing would help flatten that epidemic or flatten that curve. And obviously we were going to fail miserably. So,
Rai Sahab, on this program, मैं सिर्फ आंकड़ों पे चलता हूं मैं. सिद्धार्थ जराबी हमारे सहयोगी, देखिए, हमको बता रहे हैं कि वो खुद क्या झेल रहे हैं या क्या उनको सुनने में आ रहा है. लेकिन मैं जब आंकड़ों पे चलता हूं तो मैं अपने आप से सवाल पूछता हूं, राय साहब, कि इसमें आश्चर्य क्यों होना चाहिए. मुझे अचरज हो रहा है कि भाई ऐसा कैसे संभव है कि एक व्यक्ति जो कि कोविड पॉजिटिव होता है, वो कोविड पॉजिटिव व्यक्ति एक एम्बुलेंस में जिसका पैसा उसके परिवार वालों ने दिया है, वो एम्बुलेंस एक अस्पताल में नहीं जा सकती है जो कि अथॉरिटीज ने बना के रखा हुआ है कि साहब ये कोविड पॉजिटिव पेशेंट्स के लिए है. अगर ये असलियत है और आंकड़े ये दर्शाते, तो हमें तो ये कहना चाहिए होना ही था. ये तो होना ही था. मतलब क्या मैं ये मानूं कि ये तो होना ही था जो अब हो रहा है? क्या ये सच्चाई रहा है सर?
भूपेंद्र जी, आपने ऐसी बात पूछ ली है कि मुझे जवाब देते हुए भी बड़ा खुद को शर्म आती है. मैं 2 मिनट और आपके एक्स्ट्रा लेना जरूर चाहूंगा कि देखिए, जिस वक्त हिंदुस्तान आजाद हुआ तो 90% सर्विसेज मेडिकल की जो गवर्नमेंट प्रोवाइड करती थी, और सिर्फ 10 या 15% जो सर्विसेज थी वो प्राइवेट देती थी, और प्राइवेट के अंदर भी चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट वगैरह थे. उसके बाद पिछले 7 साल के अंदर क्या हुआ कि 75 to 80% सर्विसेज जो है प्राइवेट सेक्टर दे रहा है, और गवर्नमेंट आज की सिर्फ आपकी 20 से 25% दे रही है. हेल्थ इज नॉट द प्रायोरिटी फॉर अवर गवर्नमेंट्स. आज उनको कोरोना के अंदर ये पता लग गया कि अगर हम हेल्थ के ऊपर कंसंट्रेट नहीं करेंगे तो हम चाहे कितनी न्यूक्लियर पावर बन जाए, हमको किसी वक्त भी जमीन पे कोई भी वायरस हमको जमीन पे ले आएगा। एक समस्या तो यहाँ पर सबसे बड़ी ये आ गई। अब दूसरी बात आपने जो कह रहे हैं कि अगर एक कोरोना पॉजिटिव व्यक्ति को एम्बुलेंस के लिए धक्के खाने पड़ते हैं, उसके बावजूद उसको 8-8 घंटे सड़क पे रहना पड़ता है, और वो भी नेशनल कैपिटल रीजन में, वाकई में बहुत दुख होता है, बहुत दुख होता है। मैं इसके थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट जाता हूं। आपने अभी आज पेपरों में पढ़ा होगा, टीवी पे देखा होगा, वाइजैक के अंदर एक डॉक्टर को 1 हफ्ता पहले किडनैप कर लिया जाता है, क्योंकि उसने ये कह दिया कि यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट के अंदर मेरे को पीपीआई नहीं मिल रही है, पीपी नहीं मिल रही है तो उसको पकड़ लिया। पकड़ने के बाद उसको लाए 2 दिन बाद, तो अब उसको सड़क के ऊपर नंगा करके डॉक्टर को, एक एनेस्थेटिस्ट को मारा जा रहा है, और वो सारे लोग उसका वीडियो बना रहे हैं। उसके बाद इवन वहां के हाई कोर्ट ने उसको स्यू मोटो लिया और उसको चीफ सेक्रेटरी को बुलाया है। मैं पूछता हूं कि कोरोना वॉरियर्स को क्या ये ट्रीटमेंट दे रहे हैं आप? अरे आप ये भी तो सोचिए, जिन लोगों ने, डॉक्टर हो गए, पुलिस वाले हो गए, पैरामेडिकल स्टाफ हो गए, मीडिया वाले हो गए, हर जगह जा जाके आपको ये समझा रहे हैं कि कोरोना से आपने कैसे लड़ना है, और उसके बाद आप उनको ये दे रहे हैं, उनके लिए आप तालियां बजाते हैं, दिए लगाते हैं, उनके खून को, उनके एप्रन को आप लाल कर रहे हैं, तो आप किस प्रकार से लड़ेंगे?
Siddharth, I want to come back to you. Siddharth, I want to come back to you. And, I want our viewers to be left with your own harrowing tale that you have narrated before us today. Whether it's the health minister, Dr. Harshvardhan, whether it's top leaders of this government, everyone appears to be pointing out that, well, all is well, that everything is working out perfectly fine, that there is absolutely no problem as far as preparation, to this pandemic is concerned. Now that you yourself are speaking to all these individuals and speaking to doctors and trying to figure out, what could be the best possible solution, what is the blunt headline that you take? Do you take this headline, Siddharth, that, let's be clear, we are just not ready. We are just not ready to deal with the pandemic of this scale?
Bhupen, I just want to say, it has taken us only 15 days to reach from 50,000 overall cases to 100,000 as we speak. Today's data might show another growth. In the last 7 days, we have added as many as 30,000 cases. And in the last 48 hours, in 2 batches, our rate of addition of 10,000 infections is now happening in just 48 hours. There is another set of data which also shows that it took India 64 days to go from 100 to 100,000. But I'm telling you the story of the last 2 weeks. And in these last 2 weeks, it's very clear to me that our hospital infrastructure is under tremendous pressure. I have another case of a politician's daughter who is an MBBS student as an intern being sent into a critical care area for treating a COVID patient when that child was clearly not qualified to be doing that. There are many other cases, including the fact that our ICUs, the COVID hospital ICUs, please understand this point.
Yes.
It might take 14 days, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, God knows how much time for a patient, COVID patient admitted in an ICU to be moved out, so that ICU infrastructure, which in any case as a percentage of existing hospital beds, I don't think ICUs are more than 10% of total hospital beds. This is just a rough figure that I'm telling you. Even they are coming under pressure. So I would end by saying the current approach to hospitalization and treatment, and there frankly isn't too much treatment, it is just the management of the patient, that perhaps needs to change significantly, and our authorities must now start paying attention to granular details rather than the macro data, because each granular detail, every single patient is a story and is a very, very troubling set of instances and experiences that people are undergoing. So these 100,000 patients, Bhupen, to me in the last 24, 36 hours are no longer just statistics. They are now real stories, and I can only pray for the families of all involved and everyone who is fighting this crisis, and hope that the authorities at every level actually get into granular solutions rather than just a top-down order issue kar diya wala approach.
I agree, Siddharth. I just hope and pray that all the people that you have spoken to, your friends, your family members, etc., they all stay safe. I cannot believe that in a country like India, where we have spent 2 months now in lockdown and we don't know how much longer will we end up spending in lockdown, for a COVID positive patient to be left on the road, yes, in an ambulance, not to be in a position in which a hospital bed, a ventilator can be provided to that patient, I think is just a straightforward rejection of all these tall claims which are being made by governments anywhere in the country. Thank you so much to all of you. Siddharth Zarabi, Tripti Glada, and Dr. Rai for joining us. I can only hope, I'll borrow from what Siddharth Zarabi says, मैं सभी खुदाओं से, सभी भगवान से, अल्लाह से, मैं भी सबसे यही प्रार्थना करता हूं कि सब लोग सुरक्षित रहें. मैं हर दिन यही कह रहा हूं, कृपया घर पे रहें. Stay at home, because that is the only way you can afford to stay safe. I'm not trying to spread any panic here. But what Siddharth has told us today, and the numbers from the National Health Profile Mission that we have looked at, it tells you the real story. You look at that heat map, you look at the number of people who are all traveling in different parts of the country, and just imagine what will happen if you were to end up being impacted by this. To those who have recovered, my good luck, my best wishes to them. But to those, well, who are hanging around, who are on the move, let me just appeal to you with folded hands. Please, please take extreme precaution, because we're clearly not equipped to deal with a pandemic of this scale. Thank you so much. Please stay safe. Please stay well.